Hello, what's up? Welcome to another build guide. Today we're going to talk about Ice Shot Raider in the Synthesis League. It's an excellent character, and this is the full guide. So, Ice Shot Raider Chain recently was buffed. I believe it's here, and it deals less damage than what it used to, which means it actually deals more damage. I believe it was 20% more, and I figured why not make an Ice Shot build, skill I never played before, and try and work it around with a Raider and a 2 Chaos bow that I picked up off PoE Trade. This bow is absolutely nothing special. 2 Chaos Orbs, open suffix for crit chance, and it's basically the mod from the Temple. The Katis gives you physical damage hybrid with physical as extra chaos damage. Alright? On top of that, it has decent, I guess, tier 4 flat fizz, a little bit of flat lightning, and tier 2 attack speed. So yeah, pretty decent bow, nothing too special really. 2 chaos, but of course the rest of the gear is not. So yeah, so in order to clear, we're using Ice Shot. In order to single target, normally would go with Barrage, but I'm not a big fan of Barrage. You gotta stand in the face of the monster, and it's a boss, and I got 5.4k life. It's probably gonna one-shot me, so instead I went with Scourge Arrow as a single target. So let's go through the links first. Excuse me, we got Ice Shot with Chain, with Ice Bite, with greater multiple projectiles, elemental damage with attacks, and increased critical strike support. I'm currently using Loreweave, but you can absolutely use many other body armors for that purpose. But I needed the stats. Flat fizz to attacks helps, and elemental damage, crit chance, some life, some mana, the resistances, all that kind of stuff really kind of helps. But the fact that it's armor energy shield kind of keeps it from rolling 5 green, 1 red, which is what I normally wanted, because I did wanted hypothermia in this setup. So instead of hypothermia, I'm using increased critical damage, because I don't need crit chance, because I have this Watcher's Eye that gives us +2 critical strike chance while affected by hatred. Since we're full physical bow, getting the hatred really does help, because we're getting physical as extra cold, and we're getting more cold damage, right? So in the end, it ends up being just like the good old hatred that we had before this patch. So lots of cold damage, physical is extra. We are a big physical bow, right? So hatred, and of course the crit chance from the Watcher's Eye. For the Scourge Arrow, I'm using Scourge Arrow with cold penetration, elemental damage with attacks, slower projectiles, added cold damage, and Mirage Archer. Now the reason Mirage Archer goes here and not inside the Ice Shot, of course this is after experimenting. My character is level 90. I made an introduction video for you guys. If you want, you can check out and see what the character used to look like around level 80. Now after level 90, I've experimented a little bit, and I'm just playing what's comfortable for me. Mirage Archer is pretty much a staple for every bow build out there, but I feel that for this particular character that I'm sometimes running out of mana after shooting with my setup when there's no monsters to clear, because Mirage Archer, stole my thunder and kind of killed everything before I get to kill it, and Mirage Archer does not leech, right? For me, mana, right? So I end up running out of mana, and then have to shoot one measly arrow to try and kind of like leech, as Mirage Archer slowly kind of like attacking his Ice Shot. So I felt like with Ice Shot Chain, everything just gets clear instantly, and when you give Mirage Archer the opportunity, it will just completely clear everything for you, and then you run out of mana, and then there's a situation where monsters attacking you, you don't have any mana until it regenerates, right? Because this is our only way of replenishing mana. We regenerate or we leech if we don't have anything to leech from. So I hope you understand what's going on over there, and that's the reason why Mirage Archer goes into the Scourge Arrow setup, which makes a lot of sense, because when Mirage Archer is up, when I just all I need to do is just a small click. I don't need to even fully charge, and then Mirage Archer will charge fully all the stacks and release a very powerful, Mirage Archer shot, right? So it helps me again in single target situation when I have to move around, kite around from all sorts of attacks. All I gotta do is like release a small Scourge Arrow shot, and then Mirage Archer gets into play once the damage goes in, hitting something, right? So it makes a lot more sense to actually put Mirage Archer in the Scourge Arrow setup. For me, that's how it works. For me, it's very comfortable, and if you guys feel differently, by all means, it's Path of Exile. Feel free to change everything else you want. Just giving you the reasoning of why I used everything where I used it. All right, other links. We mentioned Hatred, Herald of Ice. Excuse me. And over here we got some faster attacks. Blink Arrow just as a movement skill. Cooldown is very long. We're mostly relying on a lot of movement speed from Raider based on all the frenzy charges we have. I got a cast when damage taken, a Mortal Call with Thrust Bomb. Since vast majority of our damage is cold, we will get enemies whenever they attack us. They'll get the cold exposure coming in from Frost Bomb, reducing their resistances to cold by 25%. Outside of that, I got a pretty fancy projectile attack damage gloves that I got from the temple, right? Temple of Atsuatl, another temple item. So we got the bow and we got the gloves from the temple with the cold hybrid with increased damage against chilled enemies. I picked up a gripped glove, pair of gloves for this setup because of the projectile attack damage implicit, and cold hybrid with cold against chilled, increased damage against chilled enemies, multi-modded, and got ourselves damage while leeching, some life, global crit chance, elemental damage if you've crit recently. Now the reason that there's physical damage converted to cold damage is because originally this was not a Scourge Arrow, this was a Barrage, and Barrage does not convert anything, right? So for the Barrage we only had the 20 and 20 converted, and I figured why not get another conversion happening over here with additional physical damage converted to cold for the Barrage strictly. Of course, this ended up kind of backfiring because I'm not using Barrage, and Scourge Arrow converts 60% to Chaos and 40% to cold, so I don't need the additional conversion. So essentially I have a free prefix that I'm not really using here on these gloves. I could remove crafting mods and craft everything else, but this will cost multiple exalts, and I'm not really up for it right now. We're saving up for the next build with only about 9 exalt at this very moment. This character, by the way, I started with 21 exalts. By the time the character started, I had about 6. Right, so I spent about 15, maybe 17, because I also spent a bunch of chaos on it. So something like that. For the rest of the links, as mentioned, we got Orb of Storms, Power Charge on crit, increased critical strikes, and Culling Strike. This is how we generate power charges outside of maps, so single target bosses, and Culling Strike definitely helps. And since we need the extra assist with increased critical strikes, otherwise Orb of Storms have very, very little chance to crit, and it's kind of hard on single target situations to see. It's 22 to 36, that's roughly 14% to critical strike chance for our Orb of Storms. This is why for single target I'd better use the increased critical strikes here. Val Haste, Val Grace, all very viable options for this slot instead, and this is totally your judgment call if you want to use this setup, but power charges need to be generated somehow, and that's how I do that. Yeah, that's basically it. So for the rest of the gear, we got a Mark of the Elder with increased attack damage, while your other ring is a Shaper item. For the Shaper item is an Assassin's Mark ring, which is how we generate our power charges in maps, right? And for the amulet, I just got something with some life, some flat damage, some crit multi. Really nothing fancy here. You can get a bunch of shapers or elder amulets. This I believe cost me like 60 chaos or something like that. I was able to pretty much snipe it with that 50, maybe 50, maybe 40, something like that. So yeah, open prefix, elemental damage with attacks there. And Hyri's Demise, there are many quivers you can use, there are many bows you can use. By all means, you can totally go off the rails with this type of character, but the original concept was stacking lots of with the frenzy charge we get with Ice Bite, lots of cold, using the chain. That was the kind of character that I had in mind when I first started it. So let's talk about Raider, and of course you can use Deadeye, and you'll have very, very similar success with a character like this, potentially even better for single target in terms of damage. Yeah, Deadeye. So Deadeye is extremely, extremely good for all sorts of run speed. It's very fast, and you're going to see that. I picked up at first Rapid Assault and Avatar of the Chase. Cruel Lab I went with. We have the Poacher, and Uber Lab, Avatar of the Slaughter. So Rapid Assault basically gives us free onslaught and increased attack damage. Avatar of the Chase gives us double the effect of onslaught, which means 40% movement speed, 40% attack speed, and attack damage during onslaught, and more chance to evade. These give us some onslaught duration. We're not stacking evasion again because of the lore weave, but you could totally go with like perfect form, which is a chest I was considering. And there are other body armors like that high raise chest that adds a bunch of cold damage, huge evasion, but yeah, no life there. So I mean, there are definitely other choices for a build like this. And then we have the Poacher, gets us our permanent frenzy charges, right? And then Avatar of the Slaughter with +1 frenzy, and then move speed, attack speed, and attack damage per frenzy charges. On the tree, we are collecting savagery, fervor, and forensic for +3, which gives us a total of 7 frenzy charges, right? Which is kind of a lot. On the tree, we're also taking up all the crit from Shadow, all that weird wheel in the Shadow area. Every life we can get, acro, all the crit, all the life, the cold conversion, elemental damage, some crit, more life, cold damage, some more crit, leech, projectile and life, some more life, and a jewel socket. Jewel socket, beware. Currently, the gold mods are non-divinable. If you use a divine orb on this, the fractured mod of the life roll cannot go up or down. It will forever be 37 until they fix the bug. So when you're buying something like that, I know because I was like, 37 tier 2, I can go up to 45. Guess what? Cannot go up to 35. Ended up spending, I think, 5 or 6 or 7 divine orbs before I was like, I guess it's bugged, right? So sometimes you discover things the hard way. Outside of that, we got just some life, a bit of flat damage over here. Over here we got some attacks with bows, crit multi. I needed intelligence for the character, so I needed, to find something with intelligence and then some life. Global crit multi is nice because Scourge Arrow is not an elemental skill, and you kind of want, it's a chaos skill, right? So you want something global that will benefit both your Ice Shot and your Scourge Arrow. Regarding the belt, I crafted this with prismatic and pristine fossils. Managed to get a bunch of elemental damage there. Damage with attacks, life roll kind of low, but a bunch of resistances for the helmet. I picked up the Ice Shot damage, but thinking back, Ice Shot does so much damage for clear, it's actually quite insane. So if I were to do this character all over again, knowing I would end up using Scourge Arrow, I would pick up the additional Scourge Arrow pod for the helmet enchant, because it does help in single target situations, and that is what I feel this character needs really the most help with. Crafted with Frigid and Pristine for that hybrid max life and the increased maximum life, and then Frigid for the negative to cold resist to nearby enemies. Got some prefix, got some resist suffix and open suffix for another resist. The boots, I actually found Chaos Pound with that tier 1 fire, got a reasonable result. Enchanted, again, the lightning is mostly for bossing, and I believe went through everything. This is really nothing special, just an Assassin's Mark on hit. And yeah, I did manage to get perfect resists for Wise Oak. So we got Wise Oak over here, warding Alchemist Quicksilver Flask to remove curses, Heat Experiment Diamond Flask to get lucky on critical strikes, and then you know, as always, an instant Life Flask of bleed removal, and a serious promise because we're double dipping physical and elemental. This is a 20-15. These run, you know, 15 to 20 and then 10 to 15. So you want to pick up a high one. I think I paid 35 chaos for this one. Right here, absolutely worth it. Outside of that, whenever I'm fighting, there are 2 burning guardians that deal ignite, right? So whenever that happens, I pick up a quartz flask of dowsing to remove ignite, and I use that instead of my warding flask because I don't need the extra movement speed, and they don't curse you at all. So I just keep this for whenever I'm fighting the guardian. So far, this character killed. Let's pick up some Nico juice here for end of video display and gardens. Oh, we're about to level up also. Not in this video, probably. Okay. So yeah, character can't really do reflect. Reduce flash charges is kind of annoying, but that's pretty juicy. You know, that's a pretty juicy map overall. So we'll go. I just want increased quantity because Nico, right? So increasing the. Did I press OK? I did not. There it is. So yeah, one problem with this character, I'll tell you right off the bat, the clear feels amazing, right? It really, really does, and the speed, I mean, it's just really, all this onslaught, you just kind of like one shot and everything chains, it's really lovely. You know, it really is, but the one problem is that I'm pretty bad for single. I'm not a very good bow player, right? I make a bow build once every maybe 3 leagues. My last bow build, I believe, was okay. Let's get in there. Starting to decay from here. So yeah, my last bow build, I think, was actually a Scourge Arrow Deadeye. I made maybe 3 leagues ago. I don't even remember exactly when, but I mean, see the chain just kind of chains and go kind of off screen. Loving it. So yeah, since I'm so bad with with bows, I'm just not particularly used to, you know, just how to play them, the entirety of like how to play a bow build in this game, and sometimes things can get a bit awkward against single targets, I guess. And also one thing is that as a Deadeye, as a Ranger, Raider, generating, like, when you have your full 7 frenzy charges, they basically last forever and you're always able to sustain them. But in single target situations, that's where the problem comes in, where you have to generate 7 out of nowhere, and basically what you have to do is there are a pair of boots that are called Ralakesh Impatience, and these will basically generate a random charge, frenzy power, or endurance charge, and you kind of have to stand there and wait because they generate 1 per second, and you cannot move while that process is happening, right? So yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a bummer, and if you're not used to it, it could be a little bit annoying. So I don't know, something you should keep in mind, because frenzies are Frenzies are definitely how we generate, how we deal damage. Without frenzies, this character can't really exist. No frenzies, no onslaught. That's a prophecy. Also, one thing you could do, like I mentioned before, is you just tap. See, Mirage Archer just decides to show up, and he deals quite a lot of damage. So you can, like, while you're mapping, you can just tap your your Scourge arrow. You don't have to fully charge it, but Mirage Archer will do the work for you. So you can just tap and then continue clearing, and then you have Mirage Archer for a couple of seconds. Make sure to, tap it again, and then, so that's some sort of a playstyle you can adjust, because Scourge Arrow is absolutely insane on its own. But yeah, it's definitely something you could do if you feel like you need the extra damage, that is. I don't feel this way, and I don't like Mirage Archer, as I mentioned at the beginning. I don't like Mirage Archer to kind of like steal the show. Yeah, that's basically it. So, so I don't let it kind of like take over and, basically kill everything before I get a chance to hit it. Now, if you got room, you could definitely add War Banner. Absolutely. I would probably get it instead of increased critical strikes. But again, for single target situation, you want that increased critical strikes. You want these power charges. These type of situations are pretty rare. So maybe you can get Vorisi, White Socket something for you, and you get a War Banner. It's something I actually just thought of. You get a White Socket anywhere, and you can replace the increased crit for mapping. It's kind of nice sometimes to have the War Banner against against some tough abyssal monsters, or essence monsters, some breach monsters, and all that kind of stuff. During mapping, War Banner will definitely be nice. So far, I haven't felt like I needed it at all. Maybe, yeah, we've killed so far tier 14 Elder. It was a breeze. And maybe we'll have better clips for you. I'm not sure about Uber Elder because I'm really bad at playing bow, okay? The character is definitely solid, and I'm having a blast, You don't have to be good at something to, in bows, I guess, to make a bow build. So don't let my, terrible bow capabilities. I'm a wizard, always have been. But every once in a while, every couple of leagues, it's nice to make a bow character, and this one turned out to be absolutely sweet, and you're more than welcome to try it out. This was it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. Maybe we'll have a video for you for a boss skill. This character is definitely capable of taking on some bosses for sure, and I've already killed tier 14 Elder with his Guardians, Deathless, so that was pretty smooth breeze. But when it comes to Uber Elder, probably not gonna see a video of that, most likely. So yeah, again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.